more, right? Because I think at the end of the day, Web3 is here to stay. I'm 100% Web3 is here to stay. If not, I would cut my dick off, right? I think this is definitely here to stay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
GM, Karen.
Casey, hello. Welcome to the GM show. If you're new to the show, and I'm going to say it over and over again to start the show, is the ABC of the show is Asia-focused, builder-friendly, cool vibes only, powered by Memeland, the home of Captains, Potatoes, MVP, Steak Land, and you guys. My name is Karen, and I'm your co-host as well. I'm the head of social for Memeland. And sup, Casey?
Hey, everybody. I'm Casey. I'm a community builder, and Karen and I love talking to founders and creators, and we're excited to be able to bring the show to you live from the GM Show studios in Hong Kong, where each week Karen and I chat to the most exciting builders in the Web3 space.
So there are two ways to enjoy the show. Some of us, you guys love to watch us on YouTube, so you can see us, or you can see us on X broadcast, or if you just want to hear us, you can go on Spaces, which is happening all at the same time. So enjoy the show.
So many ways to enjoy. We're seeing a lot of people watching it, right? That seems to be the more viewed one, but there's also a lot of people listening to it as well. So it's interesting. So we're just going to do both just because it seems like it's easy to do and make sure everybody's happy with how they want to consume the GM show. Before we begin this, we are approaching the 1-year anniversary of the GM show, which I'm very surprised we made this far. Karen, what do you think about that?
Well, it's been like a roller coaster ride. Like, we started the show of a complete different format, and now we're at this new format for a while now, and I think we also see a lot of positive feedback, and also different people's recommendation of who should come on the show. So if you want to let us know, reach out. If you have any cool projects that you want to know more about, or who the founders are, let us know, and we'll keep put them up on the show.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so let's begin. But before we begin, let's hear a quick word from our chairman.
What is discussed on the GM show is not investment advice. We may or may not have ownership interests in the projects we are talking about, but this is not investment advice in any way, shape, or form. And this is not Sir David Attenborough.
All right.
Thank you, Sir David. Thank you. All right, so today we're talking about a new Web3 game. It's called Legend of Arcadia. It's a multi-chain, free-to-play, play-to-earn. Okay, lots of something to play, something to do, right? Casual strategy card game that combines traditional gaming experiences with Web3 and GameFi. In addition to experiencing the game's immersive universe, players can also boost yield through staking, battling, and mining. The fascinating universe of LOA is centered around a fictional colony of small, toy-like humanoid creatures resembling toys. The aim of the game is to collect and raise different kinds of toy heroes and earn rewards through gameplay. They just announced their ARCA token, the governance token, and in-game incentive for Legend of Arcadia. The team producing it are seasoned individuals like Andy Lee, Alex Chong, Jackie Chung, not the singer, I don't think, Jason Cheng, and many others, with a combined of over 30 years of experience in fintech, game development, and publishing. You know, you're never going to hear that anywhere else, where fintech and game development come together. The core team members' collective history includes work at Tencent, CISA Studios, Baidu Games, and many, many more. Karen, who is our guest today?
I love introducing a gamer. He is a strategist builder of products that has created meaningful impacts to millions of people globally. He was previously at Tencent, where he spearheaded multiple game development projects and brought joys to many people. He's also a big gamer. He was at WeLab leading initiatives to bring fun, engagement, and growth from games to traditional finance. He is also part of the team that drives WeLab Group's overall strategy, in which he spearheads strategic B2C and B2B projects. Please welcome to the GM Show executive producer of Legend of Arcadia, Andy Lee. Hello,
guys.
Hong Kong. Hi, Andy.
Hey, Karen, how are you?
We're good. You look like the weatherman.
Well, the forecast right now is a little bit unstable, but we should be seeing sunny skies in the coming weeks to come, and that is perfect for the May 1st holidays.
Yep. Lots of things happening this month, lots of events in Hong Kong. Really, really, really great to have you here.
Thanks for having me here, and good to see you, Casey.
Andy, tell everybody, what is WeLab? You work for that. I don't think a lot of people know what WeLab is going to listening to this.
It's another Hong Kong company, though. I'm certain that a lot of people in Hong Kong would need to know locally. They're known for a lending product as well as a digital bank. They're also known as virtual banking in Hong Kong here. So, founded back, I believe it was founded back in the early 2010s. And then it now has, when I left, it now has grown to be one of the leading fintech companies in Asia with exposure, with business in China, in Hong Kong, as well as Indonesia. So it's go ahead.
No, the reason why I ask you is that it's an unusual move from a fintech company to a gaming company. Only in crypto can you connect the dots here.
The joke I tell people is always, you're always building a product somewhere, whether or not it's a bank, a game, or anything. The ultimate goal is to bring the best user experiences to your core customers and your core audiences. So to me, it was not that big a difference. I mean, even in the early days, I started working in Merrill Lynch in banking, traditional banking. So I went through TradFi to gaming and to fintech, and now we're building the next generation of Web3 games that combines fun, finance, the game experiences, that everything mushed all together. I'm looking to take that live in very soon, actually, very soon.
Awesome.
Great. All right. Let's get to the interview. We asked the same 20 questions to each week's guest to get some insight into their day-to-day life, what inspires them, and what lessons can they pass on to the next generation building in Web3. Karen, what is the first question?
Yep, let's do the warm-up. What is the one app you have on your home screen that not many people do?
So I started recently, just about a month ago, using using an app called Arc. Not the community, but it's also called Arc. It's a web browser that is making your experience more seamless. So one thing I really love the feature is that on the phone, there's a feature if you type it out, and then there's a button there instead of the typical Google search. It says "Look it up for me," and it looks up at all the links within the Google search and different sources and summarizes for you. So the other day I was in Bangkok, and I was like going to the store. My wife was asking me to buy mangoes back. And I looked at all the mangoes there. Like there's literally like 20 types of mangoes that you see in the store. And I was asking, which one should I buy? And I typed it in. It told me the best mangoes out there, the sweetest ones, and which one's the best this season, and then the ones I should be eating. It's an awesome app. You guys haven't used it, you should start using it.
So it recommends you, like it gives you like a point of view and
it summarizes everything for me in a really simple and easy to read summary.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Next question. What is the book you've given most as a gift and why?
I don't know if you guys have ever read this book, Stardust by Neil Gaiman.
I have.
Love the book. For those who doesn't know, it's a classic fairy tale for adults. It's essentially about a boy who is who actually saw a fallen star come from the sky on the other side of the village, which is called wall. So he has to go across the wall, go find the fairy, and come back, and actually show them that he actually can do it to go on. So he went the whole story is about this adventure that he goes on. I think for me, what I love about this book, especially fiction, is really that imagination that you give to people, the room that you have for people when you're reading the story, the way you interpret it. And a lot of times I do feel like it's like Web 2 and Web 3. When, in the Web 2 world, you're always stuck in the wall. Everything's okay. Life goes on. And then when you actually see the opportunity, that star, you go across the wall and then seek for the hope. So that's why even today I give out this book to other people. I say the same story when I did in mobile games. When I was in Tencent, I gave the same book and tell them mobile games is the future. You guys should look beyond building PC games, and this is what you should be doing. Same idea.
Great story.
I saw the movie. There was a movie version of that book.
The book is much nicer, Casey. The book
Of course.
is nicer.
Okay, what is something that has greatly influenced your life? It could be somebody that you look up to, or a movie, or a book.
None of them actually. So the thing that actually inspired me growing up was travel. I'm born in Taiwan originally, but I lived in different places every 3 to 5 years. So I lived in the US, in Canada, Vancouver, KC, and then mainland China, Hong Kong, and a variety of different places. So it's been, I think, the inspiration for me to be able to interact with different cultures and also be able to learn from them as a local person. It really changed the way how I think about things. And so especially I think in today where there are conflicts between the West and the East, sometimes for people, you only take one side. For me, I was able to actually read and interpret different sides, their perspectives, and actually have a bigger picture of things. And one great thing from living in Hong Kong was I learned to speak Cantonese. Even though I'm Taiwanese, 但我識講廣東話嘅.
Yeah. Nice.
And my accent is not great, but I think it's being able to speak the local language shows the culture side of it.
Yeah. But why Hong Kong after all these years, like living in different places? Like, what's so special about Hong Kong?
The people and the convenience. I think for me, when I left the US back in 2010, I had offers to go different places, but ultimately I wanted somewhere that, I never quite spent a lot of time in my life, which was Hong Kong. So rather than going for a new adventure, I decided to go back to somewhere somewhat familiar and actually dig deeper into it. And that ended up in a whole new adventure, me going to Shenzhen to build games at Tencent, living in India on and off about 2 years to help build the markets there, helping WeLab expand into Indonesia, meeting some of the best people and founders and builders here. It's been quite fascinating. I've been here for the 13 years now. So it's the longest I've ever stayed in a single place, the longest I've been.
Amazing.
Well, hope that you're staying for longer. What's our next question?
The next question is, besides your smartphone, what is the one gadget or product in your life that makes it better?
It is not a product or gadget, I'm going to say. It's actually my wife.
As she's a product.
She is a product in some sense.
It's a super gadget.
She's a super gadget. She handles everything in the house. And then especially I travel 80% of the time. It's crypto. I think a lot of times you got to fly around to meet people and interact with them. A lot of our team is decentralized, so I have to go see them in person. And I think the thing about it is that sometimes we have a gadget today. You spend too much. We complain our kids spend too much time on it. I think I spend more time on it than my kids do, especially when I was browsing through other codes or playing games. She's the one that drags me and actually says, Andy, go to sleep. Go to bed. Hey, crypto never sleeps. So it's hard for me to go to sleep nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have a routine question later on, so we can get to know your day a bit better.
Okay.
So let's go into the personal side of things. Like, what was an early job you had that you learned an important lesson from? Is it from your financial days?
Actually, it was not from my financial days, but it was from my Tencent days when I was building games. I'm a Sagittarius. I don't know if you guys believe in horoscopes and everything, but I'm actually a Scorpio. And I've been told that Scorpios usually have a thing where they're so detail oriented, they want to grasp on everything that they won't let go on control and everything. So that happened to me. I was intense. And it was okay in banking, because in banking everything was very structured. But I think when you're building games, everything is unstructured, but at the same time structured to a certain extent, meaning that everyone has to pick something up whenever whatever happens. I instead of letting people pick up things, I pick up everything myself and had to look through everything and then actually comment on everything. And then literally one day my boss was like coming up to me. I was like, Andy, let go. I was like, wait, what? So I thought I was doing a good job for being hands-on. But he was like, let go and let your team breathe. I was like, damn it. So he sent me off on a vacation. He sent me off. He's like, go take a break for a week and something and don't look at your phone. And I literally went on a cruise break. I went on a cruise of that. And it was one of the most uncomfortable week I have, because I can't check my messages. I'm not able to check I'm not being able to talk to the team. I just have to let things run. And be on a cruise, you don't want to pay for Wi-Fi, man. It's too expensive. And
so what happened after when you're back to work?
It was fine. Everything went as is, and nothing happened. So obviously I had a lot of things to catch up on, but I think a lot of it is really trust your team. I think that's one important lesson that I've learned. And, I'm one person out of many people. You can't really handle everything by yourself. And that actually, even though today I still do that, but I think slowly I've learned the importance of letting go. It's hard.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. When you do have Wi-Fi, what does a normal day look like for you? What's your daily routine?
I start my day at 7 a.m. So that's the reason for that, is that my kids wake up, and that's usually the time when they wake me up. And we have a lot of business partners or that is in the US. So that's usually, when I wake up between 7 to 8, I take all the calls I need with the US West Coast. 8 o'clock, I take the kids to work. Oh, sorry, not take them to work, but take them to school. They're not old enough to work yet.
Get them started young.
Get them started. I would usually find a cafe or go back to my house to take calls again, or go to our office based in Wanchai here, which is the view here. And then it's usually every day, full day meetings, discussions about products. If you got friends from coming out of the town, coming to visit and say hi. And then at night is usually where I go through everything that I missed during the day, all the documents I'm supposed to look through, all the things I'm supposed to approve, and then all the AMAs I'm supposed to go on to talk to the community and everything. So it's that's like a typical day. Obviously, I have a reminder list to make sure that I prioritize everything, because I think a lot of times when you have so many things going on, you lose track of what's important and what's not important. So I usually the night before, I usually I look through my list and things, and just kind of check things off and look at things that's what's outstanding, what we need to do, and and then next day I just get it done. Yeah. Great. So when I ask my team, a lot of times it's like, I ask them two things: is this important, and do you really need my attention? If it's not important, you don't need my attention, don't come and ask me. Ask someone else.
Prioritized. I like that.
Prioritize.
Yeah. Always do that. Okay, here is another question. Like, what is an unusual habit that you have?
I don't like conventional things, meaning that I actually like to support small businesses or find things you would never ever find. So in Hong Kong, one of the things I try to do every time I go to a coffee shop and do get work done is find a coffee shop that I've never been to, and that is not a chain. So especially when you're in Wanchai, there's a lot of great coffee options around here. I like to spend time in Shenyang as well, to up the hill. There's quite a bit of different unique coffee shops. So that's one unusual habit I have. I don't like to have the same routines over and over again. When I want to get inspiration, I want something a little different. And that, I think, goes for the creative side of things as well. You sometimes just need different atmospheres to stimulate your mind.
Do you have a favorite coffee shop though?
Oh gosh. So personally, I like N1 in Hong Kong. They only have 2 shops in Hong Kong, if I remember correctly, one in Wanchai and one in TSD. I usually go to that place because a lot of my friends stay in the area. There's a few other ones I would say, and that's hidden Shenzhen, but I'll tell you afterwards, Karen, because I don't want people to go in there. There's-
Not promoting.
once you start getting people going there, it's not really the same anymore. To be honest, you get the vibes different.
I thought you were supporting small business, but I guess you want to keep them to yourself as well. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as he's supporting it, it's good enough.
Yeah.
What belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? We asked this question because a lot of people started changing their lives after the coming out of the pandemic. Is there something that maybe you do differently that makes your life better in terms of productivity or things like that?
If I told you I was 30 kg heavier than I was right now, would you believe me?
Sure.
Wow.
Yes.
I believe because Web3 do make people gain weight.
Yeah. This guy's losing weight though. He's the opposite.
So
yeah, but like it made you realize you need to change.
When my about 3 years ago, when my second kid was about to be born, for the first time in a year, I stepped on the weighing scale and looked at the number. It analyzed everything for me, and then it said my body was like a 50-year-old man. I was like, holy shit, this is not good. And then I think it was the time when I'm actually having an idea to come out and actually build Legend of Arcadia and all the games that we have. So I think the first thing I asked myself is that if I want to take care of someone or even a team, I should probably think about taking care of myself first. So I made a mandate for me to lose weight. And I started eating healthy. I got people to help me around it. Eventually, after 9 months, I lost 30 kg. So that was quite substantial. I had to change my wardrobe, that was the painful part. But eventually, I think I focused a lot better, and my vitality and my energy level was much better. And that's why I was able to travel around the world 4.5 times just last year. In terms of miles, in terms of the miles I traveled, I actually looked at the other day. I went around them 4.5 times last year.
Amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Great. Okay, so when you feel overwhelmed, what do you do and how do you relax? Is it exercising now or is it like
not eating?
not eating anymore.
Not snacking.
On the contrary, I actually go and get stressed about something else. So I think a lot of times when people feel overwhelmed, it's really a matter of prioritization. You're overwhelmed because you have so many things happening at the same time, but your brain is not processing and telling you what's important and what's not important. I actually go back and ask myself every single day, why did I leave corporate? Why did I leave stable, well-funded startups in order to start something from scratch? Why do I do that? What is something I want to deliver? So when I feel overwhelmed, one thing I actually do is actually play with my kids. I take them out for a walk. I take them out for a hike. I take them up to this random playground that you'll never find. It's somewhere in outskirts in Hong Kong. And I just watch them laugh. Because I think ultimately what we want to do is build products for the next generation of people, things that they can actually own, things that actually be proud, and things that can actually experience, things they can actually build on top. These are the games that we want to actually build and actually get people to play. And my kids constantly remind me of that. The things I'm working towards and who am I working for? And obviously, going to mountains, you get quietness. You probably lose Wi-Fi from time to time. It relaxes you.
So just to cut off the Wi-Fi, basically.
That is why I went on a cruise trip as well to Karen, right? Just to cut off from the world.
Nice.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No Wi-Fi is good. Okay. Number 10. What is one failure you've experienced and how did you overcome it?
Oh God. Okay. I have failed multiple times in life, like a lot of times. I would say one of the most memorable one was 2016. I went to India for the first time in my life. Literally, it was at a time when Tencent wants to expand into India. They asked the billion-dollar question in the room, who wants to go there? I raised my hand. You should.
Wow.
So lesson learned: you should never raise your hand when you don't know everything. But for me, I've always wanted to go to the adventure, and I thought it would be fun for just go to India, right? This Asian guy who knows nothing about India goes there, and then it was fun actually. For the first, I was on off there for about 2 years. It was quite fun, and one failed, but we built a product. We built a team. We built a lot of relationships locally, and was prepared to launch. we made such a big hype out of it inside the company that when we launched the games that we in the market, our DAU was 14,000. And then we paid a lot of money for it as well too for user acquisition, and it never grew. We weren't able to beat the local Indians in terms of application, and that was actually one of the biggest failures, because we're like, okay, our formula worked in China. I'm sure we can take that formula and actually bring it to India, and it's gonna work. It failed miserably, and we shut down the whole thing in 6 months. But on the bright side of it, that a few years later, when PUBG Mobile launched in the market, that was the biggest thing in the market. That the foundation we built actually became the biggest thing there. So I failed. It didn't feel well. I kind of didn't get over it for a few months, but sometimes it's just life. Life goes on, and it's the same with a lot of the Web3 projects that we see today. Nothing will always work, but we just have to keep on iterating and keep on changing it and keep on building, and in hopes that we can overcome the potential failures. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It just happens.
Great. So back to like your personal investment. What is the best investment you've ever made, and what were the returns?
So the best investment probably was recently. I told my friend to drop out of school.
Wow.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like your investment. It sounds like his investment.
So this is a kid that I actually have been advising for quite some time on the side. I think she's great. She's up and coming. She really loves crypto, but she's also asked the question that she should be finishing her school and get that 4-year degree, and one day that doesn't work, she will get a job. She can find a job somewhere, or she just need credibility. And I was like, well, a lot of great people drop out of school, and they became great as well too. Sometimes if you don't think you need this in life, then you don't really need it. You can always come, and for degrees, you can always come back, but you only get to live once. I think a lot of times the investments you think about it's really not really investing in yourself, but also investing in others. And what I see with her today, she's traveling around the world. She is building along with some of the best builders out there. She's taking it, and I think the returns for me was that happiness that I get from just seeing her success. That actually makes me feel good. And
wow,
obviously, the other side of the investment was also I secretly bought Solana tokens last year, which did pretty well as well.
But like, if it goes back to your kids, like if one of your kids like, Dad, I don't want to go through college, like, would you say the same thing?
It depends. I know, Karen, you're gonna ask this question. This question actually is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I think if my kids are watching this a few years later, your dad supports you if you actually do drop out of school. But however, you should be doing for the right things, not if you decide to run away with someone, then that's not the way to that. That I think is a bad idea. If you decide you want to build something and you actually truly have a good idea, we're supportive.
Right. So with a clear goal, kids, you can drop out of school.
if you know what you want, even if you don't know what you want in life, but you have a direction, then that's good. If you decide to create a company with another person, then I think that's great.
Great.
Okay, good. This will lead into the next question. Now you have to name somebody. You can't say travel or your wife, right? Who is someone you look up to, and what is your favorite quote from him or her?
I talked about Neil Gaiman earlier, so I do look up Neil Gaiman as an inspiration from day to day. In fact, his books was actually one of the early fiction books I've read, and actually has inspired me throughout the life. I still remember there's a quote he had. It was like, the one thing that you have that nobody has is you. Your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only as you can. And that actually followed me all my life as well too. I realized that one day after being corporate for a decade plus is that life is short. I think a lot of things you don't want to just. I look at my bosses and I look at how they are after 10 years, and I was like, and I constantly ask myself the question: do I want to be in their shoes? I said no. So literally, I still remember in 2019 when I quit my job at Tencent. It was November. my boss looked at me and was like, you could just actually wait for 2 more months and get paid your bonus and leave. And then I said, no, I'm just gonna leave because I think time is more important. And
that quote came from his commencement speech at the University of Arts in Philadelphia. Everybody should check it out. It's on YouTube. It's very good. There's a book about it, right? So it's very good.
He's still an inspiration in my life. So I still say that today.
Cool.
Awesome. So what is the one conventional wisdom that you would disagree with?
So we actually interact with quite a bit of founders ourselves. And I talk to them to get advice, to bounce ideas off. I've actually had a lot of founders come and tell me, says, Andy, as long as you build something amazing, someone will come use it. And I was like, that is true when you have nothing, when you're the only person out there. But when you start having competition, that is not the case. I think a lot of times, having a product is easy, but being able to grow it is the hardest part. So just because you build something great does not mean people use it, because there's only there, and if you don't grow it, there's only even better products that come out into the market. So we should always continue to grow. You should not just build something and just let it be.
Okay. The next question is piggybacking on that then. What is one piece of advice you would give to a first-time founder?
Look for a good technical partner. I think a lot of times the way every time revolves around technology today, but I've actually met teams and freaks me out a little bit that they have no co-founder that is technical. And a lot of them, they just outsource it to other people. It is important to hold your own technology in-house, and it's also important to use the technologies that you feel is useful to you, and not just having an outsourced team telling you need to be doing this. And yeah, I think that's the core thing, just making sure you have someone technical in-house that you can trust.
Okay, good.
Very, very important.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is the worst piece of advice you ever received? Is it from an investor?
What is the worst piece of advice? So my boss back in the days always tell me to climb up higher in the ranks in life, not work, in life. He's like, you should be sending your kid, you should be hanging out with those who's living on the mid levels. You should be, in the higher up circles and everything. I was like, yeah, that sounds nice and everything, but I just want to be myself, to be honest. I think a lot of times I see people go into that path and they pretty much did everything, like use the kids, use the wife to get into those circles, send them to the best schools out there. But I think a lot of times it's just really being yourself is more important than anything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely agree.
Yeah. Okay. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk. Why?
I
pick only one.
If I had to pick between these three, I would pick Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
I like how Jeff runs the company. It's always day one for them. They're always starting fresh. I love the model, but at the same time, I really like how they prepare for meetings, because a lot of times you go to meetings, the last thing you want is people reading off PowerPoints. It is not effective. Whereas I think you should be going to the meeting, understand what you want to talk about, and actually discuss and get everyone out as quickly as possible, because sitting in the meeting room and not driving conversation is a waste of time. Time is important. So that I would think Jeff is the most important of these three. Yeah,
I think you're the only one person who said that so far, right, Karen?
Really?
I don't think anybody else has picked Jeff. Maybe one other person.
Someone would say like a mix of three of them, but I guess you're the first person that's only picked Jeff.
I mean, if I don't have to pick the three of these people, I have another pick for it. I actually have another person in mind.
Okay.
Norman Foster.
Oh.
He designed the Hong Kong airport, a lot of the buildings in Hong Kong as well, HSBC building. I always tell people that building a game is really about precision. It's really not about building the perfect game. It's really about precisely knowing where to put different things are, and then put it, and then making sure people can find it and look for it. When I look at Norman Foster, I really like the idea that he actually brought glass and steel into really traditional architecture industry. and then and he brought in a lot of technology elements into it, and inspired a generation of architects since the 1980s. So even today, if you look at some of the more iconic buildings in Hong Kong, it's built by him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the landmarks of Hong Kong.
The landmarks of Hong Kong, and Casey's favorite, the Hong Kong airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not my favorite, but it is amazing. It is an amazing building.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Okay.
Let's get into the Web3 side. So what got you into Web3 in the first place? Is it crypto when you're in finance, or it's not gaming in the first place, right?
So my engineers that I sit really close to back in my Tencent days was actually trading Bitcoin and crypto next to me. And then that was a time when a lot of exchanges were legal in China. And I was looking at them, and that's when I started learning about Web3. And then at the same time, we got a lot of people downstairs trying to sell me their ICOs back in the days. Eventually, I think we kind of didn't really got into the space, but in 2021, I started learning more about it. That was when all the MT hype, the MT was like getting popular. That's when the hype started. That's where also you saw play to earn games actually was started building. And then I would look at it and I was like, if anyone can build something like this, why don't I just come out and actually build something even better? And this is how we embark on our journey in building games in Web3. And this is how this is why I convert myself full time into it for the past 2.5 years now.
Great.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so that's how you got into Web3. We want to know, what is your first NFT that you bought? What did you learn from it, and do you still own it?
Okay, so I still own it. It is a collection called Hype Saints. It's a very small collection, but it was backed by Pro Digital, which also backed Steppen in the early days. How I found out about them was that this was my friend's project, and then he came up to me and asked me what he originally wanted to build an IP out of this, and then has a lot of great plans. And then I started telling him, okay, bro, I like you, but focus on making sure MT is a success and focus on your community first before you actually go into the grander side of things. Essentially, I poured cold water on him. And he actually liked the idea. He liked me dousing him, and then he was like, hey, what? And he constantly come back to me and ask me what I think about the different collections building. Now he has a second collection. I minted a few of them just to support him as well. And I still own today. And I think it taught me the fact that building collections is not easy. And, design, being creative is something that is not easy to do. It's, everyone tries to do NFTs. Everyone tries to actually come up with projects, but I think a lot of times NFT projects need to have soul. It is hard to build a soul into a collection, and I think that's really I really envy him being a creative director and trying to actually take this whole thing alive.
Where's your friend now? Like, is he still building, or is he still in Web3?
Yes, he actually, that thing evolved into a game platform, a mini game platform as well too, where as holders you're able to buy cartridges and actually play games. He's probably going to launch a third collection one day, I think, but he just launched the second one, I think late last year, if I remember correctly. So they're doing well. The community is slowly growing. Still not quite there yet, but hopefully, I think he's trying hard. And then he's in Sweden. He is in Finland right now because his wife is actually going to school there, and then he just went there with the wife to stay there for until she finishes school.
Great. So the next question is, I'm sure a lot of your audience would love to know, what are you working on right now? Why now? Why you? And tell us more about the token.
Absolutely. So we're building a idle-based RPG card game called Legend of Arcadia. We've been building this for about 2 years, testing it with our community and a lot with 200 plus partners across the world. We actually have, in my opinion, some of the best retention metrics. Our next day retention from all of our alpha tests was 86%. So in context, 86% of people still play the next day. by the 7th day, we still got 56% of people playing our game in our alpha. And do you know that all of the assets that we had back then was on testnet? So players did not really have incentives for getting rich or making wealth out of it. They really just want to play the game. On average, and they also spend around 70 minutes in the game, which is actually, we think, was phenomenal from all the stats that we've seen. And then I think and then we're looking to take this launch actually very soon. Probably sooner than you think. We have a NFT collection coming up as a free mint next week. And then we should be announcing a few more initiatives throughout the month of May. So looking forward to just do a follow us on Twitter, and we'll actually share more with you. But I think why now is simply when I actually believe in cycles. I don't know if Casey or Karen, you guys believe in it, but I really believe that human beings make the same mistakes over and over again. We will never learn mistakes. So when I actually look at Axie, I don't think Axie failed. I think what Axie did was create a brand new industry that no one could back then. But it was also the fact that Axie was an engagement product. And now, if you actually look back in the days of gaming, in the early PC days, all the games that we had played was actually consume time. Your Super NES, your first premium mobile games, the games you buy on Steam, they're really to kill time. And then Axie was that product. Yes, it was gated, but a lot of the early games we had to pay for it too. It was also gated. But if you actually slowly take how the gaming industry has evolved, the next wave will be really focused on unlocking these gates, allowing people to play these games for free, get onboarding them. But at the same time, I think they'll be mobile, because people like ourselves will be traveling across the world to different places. I don't think anyone's going to be sitting in front of a PC and play games anymore, but instead they will want to play on a mobile device and go across the world. More importantly, I think it's really about the social retention aspect of it. A lot of times people play games because they want to meet friends. They want to social with other people. Same the likes of World of Warcraft or Honor of Kings. People play them because their friends are playing it and they want to socialize with them. I think the next generation Web3 games will be focused on that. And that's what we're trying to take these ideas into Legend of Arcadia. It'll be really focused on socials, building focused alliances and guilds, making sure you have fun with your friends in our PvE and PvP modes. But more importantly, it is a game that we want to, you will get free NFTs when you actually come and play. You don't have to pay for anything. You can come in from day one and experience a game. And I think for us, as builders in Web 2, and who knows what has done really well back in the days with live ops and monetization, I think these are the expertise that we don't really quite see in Web 3 today. And I think our team has got that experience, but also has the tactics to take this live as we bring this game to the bigger crowd. So looking for really excited. Go ahead.
I love how you were saying the importance of how to build a game, but I also want to know coming from also other digital gaming background, what's the difference of building a digital game back then versus now building a Web3 game?
There really isn't that big of a difference. But I think what people really love about Web3 games is the fact that you can actually take your assets away from the game and actually own it. I think that's the core selling point for Web3 games today. But more importantly, I think for Web3 games, it's really about building community. For a lot of Web2 games back then, it was, yes, I could ship any game, but it would just be sitting on the store not being discovered. But I think Web3, the power of it is really the people that you spend with, the people, the recommendations, and the people would come up to you and say, I really like this. And they would start sharing with their friends. That's something. And then people are a lot more open about sharing these things in Web3 versus in Web2. I think that's really the power of it. Finding something you think it's great, only these assets, showing off to your friends and bringing them into the games and building that community all together and sharing your ideas with the developer to see what you want and then developer take the idea and take it forward. That's a loop I think you don't really quite see in Web3, in Web2.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah.
So also building a Web3 product, gaming in terms of a product, has such a longer production period time, right? So obviously a higher cost. So what makes it what makes you believe in Web3 gaming more than other Web3 products?
So we're actually not rebuilding something that taking something that's brand new. I think for us, yes, cost is an issue, but I think what we want is certainty. I think there's so many great games that's built throughout the decades. I think for us and to take them to Web3, you just need to build on top of it, taking the technology and then putting and implementing into the game. At the same time, see and try out different game modes that you typically cannot do. So I think so. This is where I think Web3 games costs will be more manageable than Web2, unless you're building something like big and expensive. But most games should be, I think, in the reasonable cost range, even probably less, because there's a lot of foundations built in Web2 already. But I think cost is probably the least of everyone's issues, to be honest. As a startup, you're always raising for money. You're always trying to get money. But I think user acquisition is even tougher. So even if you have the money, if you have the product, if you can't acquire users or you can't really get it to the right audience and take it live, I don't think there's any point talking about cost.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, here it is, the last question. You must explain Web3 gaming to a lot of people. So this is specifically for Web3 gaming. What is the one misconception people have about Web3 gaming that you would like to change?
I still remember when I started my job at Tencent, my parents were asking me, "You can make money with games." She really did say that, and my in-laws did say that as well too. And then when I told them I started going to start about Web3, it was like, you can make money out of Web3 games, really? So I think that's one misconception that I want to say, is that I think Web3 is not really about the money. I think a lot of people come here because you can get quick money. You can actually raise money with tokens. You can actually do a lot of things that you typically cannot do in Web2, because you're constrained by whether it's regulations or whether it's just the people you're with. But I think Web3 is really about freedom. I think it's really not about the money that you get out of it, but it's the freedom of choice, and it's the freedom to create that you don't really see in Web2 today. And that is a conception that people don't really see, and I do want to change that going forward. This is why we're going around the world promoting Legend of Arcadia, because I think for us, building a Legend of Arcadia is our way of changing that misconception. We're building a game, we're bootstrapping, but at the same time, we want to show you that Web3 games can be different. It's something you can own, you can be proud of. It's not. And yes, we can. You may make money out of it in the end, but it's that freedom that it's that ownership that you have, and that freedom you can tell developers what exactly you want, that you can't really do in Web2, and we want to promote that.
Great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andy, for
Thank you, Andy.
joining us this week. So what's the best way to see you again? We'll probably see each other next week, actually, in Hong Kong.
You can see us next week. We're always in Hong Kong. I'll be hanging around the next week during Fort and probably Port North Asia. We travel quite a bit, so you'll see us in conferences. But do watch out, follow us on Twitter, and we have a few interesting announcements that we're looking to announce in the coming weeks. So hopefully it's something that people will look forward to.
Great. Please follow our guest, and don't forget to follow our GM Show official, Memeland, Stakeland, and our host. And we will see you again next week.